He lost his father the week of the competition, but he went there and won for him. The stadium was electric. The crowd, restless. But Liam stood still, the world around him blurring into muffled echoes. His fingers traced the number pinned to his chest. He was supposed to wear it proudly, but today it felt like a weight he wasn't sure he could carry. 5 days. It had only been 5 days since his father slipped away. And here he was, at the biggest race of his life. Not because he felt strong, but because he made a promise. A promise whispered into a hospital room that now felt like a lifetime ago. He hadn't touched his running shoes since the day of the funeral. They sat by the door, collecting dust like the silence between him and the world. Everyone told him to sit this one out. Coaches, friends, even his own voice echoed doubts every night. But his father's last words haunted him with relentless clarity. Promise me you'll go. Even if I can't be there. Go. That wasn't just a wish. It was a mission. And so Liam packed his bag, boarded the train, and headed straight into the fire. The first night away, alone in the dorms, Liam didn't sleep. He sat on his bed clutching the old stopwatch his father had given him on his 12th birthday. It was scratched, the numbers barely visible, but it still ticked. Still kept time. Just like his father always had, never stopping, never slowing, even when life hurt. Liam remembered the countless early mornings, the hill sprints in the rain, the shared sandwiches after practice when they couldn't afford much else. This race wasn't just an event. It was their story reaching its climax. Morning broke on the day of the qualifiers. Liam stared at his reflection, noticing the dark circles under his eyes. But there was something new in his stare. Not confidence. Not anger. Something quieter. Resolve. He laced up his shoes, took one last breath, and stepped onto the track. Every competitor looked focused. But Liam looked somewhere else. Beyond the stadium. Beyond the moment. He ran that race not for time, but for legacy. And when he crossed that line, he didn't even look at the scoreboard. He just looked up. He qualified. But barely. Still, a win was a win. And something shifted in the crowd. Coaches noticed. Cameras turned. There was something in the way he ran that couldn't be trained. Something raw. Real. A talent forged through pain. As he walked off the track, a reporter approached him, asking how he felt. Liam hesitated, then simply said, "This isn't just my race." He didn't explain further. He didn't need to. The world would find out soon enough. Back in the dorm that night, Liam opened his dad's notebook. Every page was filled with training notes, motivational quotes, and race stats. But near the end, one page stood alone. One sentence, written in shaky pen, "He doesn't know it yet, but he's ready." Liam's throat tightened. He closed the book, placed it beside the stopwatch, and whispered, "I hope you're watching." Because the final race was just days away, and something told him this wasn't going to be an ordinary competition. The morning of the final came with thick fog and colder winds than usual. The organizers considered delaying it, but the crowd still came. Thousands. Liam stood at the edge of the track, eyes closed, replaying every run he'd ever done with his dad. He could almost feel the soft clap on his back. The warm breath on his neck when he pushed too hard. The voice that always said, "One more rep," and now, it was time for one last run. The run that would define him. The other runners were fast. Unbelievably fast. Many were national champions, names with sponsors and headlines. Liam was the underdog. The grieving kid. Nobody expected him to win. But that's what made this moment dangerous. Because Liam didn't need permission. He needed purpose. And in that starting block, staring down the track, he found it. Not in gold medals. But in memory. The gunshot cracked. And Liam flew. For the first 100 meters, he held back. Just like his father taught him. Don't burn it early. Save the fire. He stayed in fourth. Then third. The curve came. His legs started to scream. But his heart went silent. Focused. Clear. At 200 meters, he remembered a night they had no money for dinner, so his dad ran with him to distract his hunger. Sometimes, son, you run to survive. Liam surged into second place. With 50 meters to go, Liam's foot clipped slightly, his balance wobbled. The crowd gasped. But he didn't fall. He didn't break. He remembered a different voice now, his own, years ago, crying, saying he wasn't good enough. And his father's reply, good enough for who? Liam leaned forward, emptied the tank, and crossed the finish line with nothing left. Silence. Then, a roar. He had done it. The scoreboard flashed. First place. Personal best. A time that qualified him for the national team. The crowd erupted. Coaches cried. His competitors clapped. And Liam just fell to his knees, hands shaking. He didn't smile. He didn't shout. He just whispered, "That was for you." Reporters surrounded him. Cameras flashed. But Liam didn't care. He pulled out the stopwatch from his pocket. It had stopped ticking. Right at the moment he crossed the line. He stared at it, a chill running down his spine. It was as if time itself had waited for that moment to let go. Like his father had been holding on, just long enough. Later, during the awards ceremony, the announcer asked Liam if he'd like to say a few words. He took the mic, looked into the crowd, and began, "My dad isn't here tonight. But he is. He's in every step I took. Every fall I rose from. Every second I kept going when I wanted to stop. This isn't just my victory. It's his." The crowd went silent. Then came the standing ovation. But the real victory happened later that night. Alone in his room, Liam looked out the window at the stars. He didn't feel sad. He didn't feel proud. He felt peace. For the first time since that hospital room, he knew he had done what he needed to do. He had honored his father not by grieving, but by running. By showing the world what a legacy of love could become. The video of his race went viral. Millions watched his final sprint. But it wasn't just his speed that captured them. It was the raw emotion. The story. The silent fight behind every step. Comments flooded in from people who had lost loved ones. From those who had given up. From kids who now believed in second chances. Liam's story became a spark. A reminder that sometimes the greatest races we run are the ones no one sees coming. And they're not about winning. They're about remembering who we're running for. Sometimes, life asks us to keep running, even when everything inside us tells us to stop. Liam's story reminds us that the greatest strength doesn't come from muscle or medals, it comes from meaning. From carrying something, or someone, in our hearts. It's easy to move forward when things are going well. But what about when we're broken? When we've lost something we thought we couldn't live without? That's when we find out who we really are. In our own lives, we all have races to run. They may not be on a track. Maybe it's showing up to work while grieving. Maybe it's trying again after failure. Maybe it's loving someone deeply, even after heartbreak. Or raising a child on your own. Or facing a diagnosis with courage. Life constantly throws us into arenas we didn't choose. But we always have a choice in how we respond. Liam responded with heart. He showed us that sometimes the best way to honor the people we've lost is by living fully in their memory. By doing the hard things. By showing up when it hurts. By chasing the finish line not for applause, but for purpose. And here's the truth, someone out there is watching you run your race. Maybe it's a parent, a child, a friend, or maybe it's the person you used to be, waiting to see if you'll rise. So keep running. Even if you stumble. Even if you cry. Even if no one cheers. Run with your heart. Because you never know who you're inspiring just by not giving up. Thank you so much for staying with us until the end of this story. If this touched you, even just a little, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who needs hope right now. Leave a comment telling us what this story meant to you. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel, because we have more real, powerful stories coming that just might change the way you see life. If this story moved you, imagine the next one. Until then, keep going. Someone believes in you. Even if it's just us. See you in the next video.